I think we're live. Yeah. Oh, anyway, I don't know where I want to. I don't even know. Oh well. So, it's one of those mornings, days where you're just in the midst of it, and you're in the middle of all your creations, and you're just letting it kind of dance around you. Um, I want to talk about some weird shit that's been happening. Um, Advertisements. I feel like are just every 10 minutes it feels or less. There's an advertisement popping up on a video or something. Feels like I'm just being interrupted constantly and constantly, constantly, constantly. It's weird because we make money, and of course there's so many ways to make money, but if you have any sort of soul, money is not life. Money is just money. It's nothing. It's an acknowledgement. But when, let's say, you're making 16 an hour, 15 an hour, and that $16 is equivalent to a monthly subscription to your favorite, you know, music platform or, movie platform, TV show platform, whatever, your time starts to be on the same level of like respect as like your own entertainment, and you're the quality of your own self-respect kind of dwindles, or kind of just isn't as sharp, it's dull. I haven't smoked one of these in a while. If you know what it is, good for you. um well, I also wanted to say that I'm getting so many advertisements about joining the military. A new game just came out, or just got kind of released, Modern Warfare 4. So I'm getting advertisements about playing it, and it's hyper realistic. It's very realistic. Like you just look like people are killing each other, and it's some AI bullshit. Why I bring this up is I believe that regardless if you want to look at the totality of events that is happening, with conflicts in many different areas of the world, technologically, in a cultural or economic way, but also in more like violence, like I'm gonna kill you kind of way in multiple areas of the world. I believe that based upon your interaction with the screens and your social medias and your algorithms, there is a kind of like a self-prescribed. Um, I don't want to use the word medicine, but it's a drug that is capable of being provided by you at any time. And what that drug is like reassurance of your thoughts. And when you think in your way. And when you collaborate with others, you kind of open your door, your perception and your perspective to to those other ways. And one could argue that, the internet is a doorway into so many perspectives. And, I'm willing to argue that at times when your perspective going into the interaction with the screens and the internet is one that is aware of the biases and your habitual thinking patterns. But the momentum of our collective culture with this sort of medium being entangled amongst it, I it's not it's not one thing. It's not it can't be like categorized down in a scientific way. Um, I want to say also that if you want to look at every sort of movement, oh, sports always hit you weird. But if you want to look at every sort of movement uh, amongst the human culture as a sort of interchangeable sort of currency of, I want to say knowledge or information, but like intellect as well, then I guess the amount of movement you're seeing being translated through our human culture is outweighing the integrity of each movement. There's so much movement happening. That movement is becoming, I don't love using the word movement for this. It can be used ex- expression, action. Excuse me. And you almost have these movements, these actions, these expressions entering what I call access points, like this one, like I'm entering the access point of YouTube, of the live stream, which, could also be exchanged for like entering a medium, you know. But these access points are not necessarily mediums. Mediums, I believe, would be like more like things you can enter that you enter alone and you can express yourself through it. But access points, I think, are much more like meaning based, where there's a lot more potential for different amounts of meaning and kind of being, there's so many ways you can be interpreted through access points rather than just a medium. Because everyone enters their own little world, their own little access point. Now, if you take a step back farther, you realize that we're all entering something. We're all entering the screen, first and foremost. It's not that we're entering the social media app and then the screen. It's that we're entering the screen and then we're entering the Instagram app, the YouTube, the Snapchat, the text message. And that perspective, I think, needs to go amongst, that needs to like flood the world, because the current handlers and dictators of these access points has weaponized the access point, and it's turned it into something. It's turning it into something very odd, and there's certain versions of these things that are so circumstantial to the user that one you can do one thing and it can cause a public change, a political change, while using the same thing and affecting no one but yourself. That level of access directly impacts each individual on a much more like intense level. You should consider looking into prisons from World War II. I'm most familiar with the Gulag, the Russian or the Soviet gulags, and their torture techniques. Um, Obviously, the Holocaust. I think a lot of us, if you've sought out that sort of history, you've learned, what people are capable of. But the Soviets, I was hearing and listening to a historian named Daryl Cooper describe some of the techniques for Gulag prisoners in the Soviet Union, and noise, lights, interruptions, um, forceful, disgusting habits, um, like without getting too graphic, really, like being forced upon like being gay, being forced to like eat things that you don't want to eat. Um, but with sound and noise, the prisoners would be periodically bombarded with bright lights in their while sleeping, and noise would periodically just be bombarded. There would be times when soldiers or guards or whatever would, these people would be sleeping, the prisoners, and they would just bang them in the shin with metal bars to like keep them awake a little. And that's just one little snippet. Of course, you can't. I don't think anyone can really grasp the brutality of some of these cultures before us. But my point is being bombarded with sound and noise, interruptions, beatings of yourself. Like, what if you could create something that would make you hate yourself or beat yourself or perform a destructive thing? In sound and noise, it's an interruption. It's like, oh, I've got you. Listen to this. And that could be anything. When it's habitual and when it's self-prescribed, like with your short form content, you're just you're seeing the same things. Oh, you like that? Okay, I'm gonna keep showing you that. It, I don't. If I'm gonna be honest, the things I scroll, like video form, I feel like a lot of animals and music videos. That's the things I scroll about. But if I have to seek something like more informational, I'm seeking it. But that I have to seek it. I have to go out of my way to seek it. And what I've noticed is that no one is seeking anything. Regardless if it's on your phone or not, go fucking read a book, or at least have the option to read a book. Go have the option, the luxury to create something weird and seek the ends of that drawing or that painting, or seek the end of your writings. And I think people are so habitually stuck in feeling like they are owed everything. Like, I exist, so bend to my will. I exist, so give me it. I have money, give me it. It's. I hope I articulated that well. I'm gonna end it with maybe something to read. Things are falling. I got a new room. You see, I'm changing the backgrounds of my videos. This is just sort of. I know I'm going to write many books about this topic, and it's going to take a lot of downloading. And this is a whole over a year of downloading little thoughts in time. I'll just read from it because I think that's important. I've wrote television, an insidious mind-altering drug, a beautiful visionary opera attached to an ancient gallery. Conflicting worldviews builds new ones. Art isn't always speaking to you along the lines of good and bad, or what sounds happy or evil or sad. It is much more abstract in the entirety of the feeling. I, I think when you begin writing, you're like, what? You're like, how? What do I want to sound like? What do I want to say? And it took me, I don't know how long, but um, it took me a good while to really just write. And I still have times where I'm just like, I can't write. And that's just not true. I'm just unwilling to write. But, sometimes I, write small things, and maybe I write a little essay, but I don't know what page this is, but it's kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I like speaking to myself in the future. I wrote, "You have been growing in the shadows. Imagine what the light can do for you." This is about screens. I'll end it here. Maybe I'll end it here for this reading. But the screens do way more than create worlds for you to occupy. They latch chains onto expectations, and the expectations morph with your screen usage. It is a drug that lives and breathes when operational. One must cleanse their palate? I think that, yeah. Palate of drugs to experience the rich aliveness of the moment. I don't know, sometimes I haven't read through these, they're nice. This is an abstract thought. I was really into Dune, still am. I've been Dune. If you haven't gotten to Dune, get into Dune. Sand, the grain, the dune. It is a powerful, mad backlash of vast imagination. It bends to one thing: air, the wind. It shapes it in all ways, but in one way is that it shapes, which makes it the same, equal parts of the pack.